Do you think singleness is necessary? I think it's necessary, and I want to know if you think it's necessary. Because I'm noticing that there are so many factors that go into inviting other people into your life. And a lot of times what I don't hear, unfortunately, at least around me, what I don't hear is that, hey, I'm dating this person and I'm with this person because they not only make sense for my personality and who I am, but they make sense for the direction and vision I have. And more importantly, I have the capacity, because you kind of assume people in relationships, yeah, they definitely, I guess, clearly they have the capacity to contain, maintain, hold down a relationship that they get in. And unfortunately, that's not always the case. Capacities get stretched thin and it gets nasty. And I think in order to really know the capacity you have, not just for where you are, but where you're going, is to, again, like we always talk about here, building your relationship with your calling, creator, and capacity. And I think by doing those things, you are actually in better position to maintain the relationships you create. I just see so many influences on relationships that are sometimes confusing to me. I just want somebody on my shoulder. And it's confusing just because of where I'm at now. But that was somewhere I was myself. Hey, I want somebody on my shoulder because they're cute, because they're this, because they're that. For what? You know what I'm saying? For what? And I've just learned that there is such an extravagant importance to singleness. When we talk about singleness, we have to consider this. Do I have the capacity to include somebody in my life? Do I right now, as presently constructed, do I have the capacity to be somebody else's priority? Do I have the capacity to actually cultivate a relationship that I am wanting? Do I actually have the capacity to actually invest into somebody, to actually make room for somebody in my life? I think these are questions that are necessary in every relationship that we're going to embark on. Do I have the capacity to do that? If I don't have the capacity to invest what's necessary for this relationship to grow, to make it, to be cultivated, to progress, then what are we doing? And there's so many people, man, that are in and out, come and go, and you're struggling and you're stuck because you're trying to figure out, well, why doesn't anybody want me? That might be a question that you're considering. Why doesn't anybody want to invest in me? Why does it seem like I get into 2-year relationships at a time? Why does it seem like I keep getting matched up with the wrong people? Why does it seem like nothing ever lasts and makes sense? And I'm not necessarily trying to paint this and cultivate it in a way where it's all on you, because I do think that there can be some accountability things that we should take. But I wonder, did we take our singleness as necessary and as seriously as we should have? Because it's easy to look at it now and go, man, don't nobody care about no singleness. Everybody know how to rock singleness. What you talking about? I think it's easy to approach it that way right now. But I think once you get to that relationship you thought you always wanted and recognize how unprepared you are for it, and I'm not ever trying to teach a message that you can be completely prepared for it, but you can definitely be more prepared than maybe you think you are or could be if we actually decided to lock in on the singleness that's in front of us and maximizing that, mastering that. There's so many. I just think that there's so much to consider. And the biggest question, as I just raised, is the capacity. Do you even have room for somebody? I know they bad, but like, can you invest in that? Can you stick around with that even if it doesn't, even if things don't go as well as you wanted it to? Can you actually decide that this is not just your person because their personality is dope, because you guys have matching values, all those things are cool and important, but like, are you actually willing to commit to understanding this person, growing with this person, doing life with this person? Like, I just think there's much more to relationships than what we portray on social media. And I just think that we should be giving more time to understanding what goes in for a relationship before we just jump into them. We treat relationships like they're just ice cream shops. We go in one and in the other, right? We just back and forth, in and out, sample, right? But it's like no commitment, no desire to commit, no desire to actually cultivate something purposeful and meaningful. And a part of it is because we have it out of order. Like, we'll study stupid hard for a final exam. We'll study stupid hard for a driver's test. We'll study stupid hard for the things that require us to get a license and proof of study, proof of education, proof of this and proof of that. And unfortunately, we treat relationships nothing like that. Nothing like that. We don't even court people anymore. We just come and go. And I think that shows, to me, not even necessarily how irrelevant we're trying to make dating and relationships to be. I think it reveals how irrelevant and unserious we take our seriousness, or our singleness rather. If you ask me, because that's where it starts, right? Because no matter who you get with, your patterns will always follow. Your character and integrity will always follow. The results from the poor decisions that you're making by not looking to be transformed in your character and integrity follow. Your habits, your appetites, your decisions, all those things still go with you because you're there. We think that I just need to get with this one person and then this type of person is going to do the changing. We think that that makes sense. And I'm telling you it doesn't. And I'm telling you that actually singleness is far more necessary than we realize. Singleness is actually where we learn to walk with God, Joe. Singleness is actually where we learn to really operate in this life in the most optimal way. To actually then make room for somebody to come into our lives. Singleness is for that. And it's not a cute message. I'm not trying, I know it's not cute, but it's necessary. Because we surpass singleness. We surpass the value of actually growing and grounding our identity in the right things. We surpass the process and the patience necessary to become the person we want to be for the relationships we want to have, for the places we want to go, for the things we want to do, for the goals we want to achieve, for the mountaintops we want to climb. Like we don't care about the internal work. We just want to have. And I think that's so counterproductive. We want to have. We want to have. And then when you have it and you realize it doesn't really do anything like you hope it would, now you want out. And instead of actually trying to maybe compartmentalize, well, why was that the way it was? We just want to go back to the love stage. We want to go back to the butterflies. We want to go back to the honeymoon stage. We love. Ain't a problem with that. But there is a time and a season for everything under the sun. And it's crazy because I talk like I've known this for a while, but I haven't. I've always been somebody who was pretty impatient. I was always somebody who was low key back and forth every day. I want a relationship. No, I don't want a relationship. It was like picking petals. Love, no love, love, no love. And I kind of moved like that. And it's kind of crazy because I share this on my page, but there was a moment in time a little bit before the pandemic ever kicked off where I was kind of in that space back and forth. And I was thinking to myself, like, man, do I really want a relationship? Do I really think I'm ready for that? And of course, I wasn't thinking to the same brevity and capacity that I do now to consider that. But then it was kind of more like, do I just want to date somebody? And I remember hearing such a still small voice and growing my relationship with Jesus. He was like, man, you really want a relationship, but you don't even make room for me. So how'd that work? It was a punch in the gut. And what happened was I took that and I started, again, investing in that relationship more healthily, more consistently. And of course, there was a goal in mind. Yeah, I'm doing this so I can get the relationship. But then the relationship stopped being the goal. He started being the goal. And life started changing and transforming. I started enjoying my own company. I started enjoying my own time. I started enjoying myself in a way that I hadn't prior to. And it wasn't like I was in a slump prior to. It wasn't like I didn't enjoy or like myself prior to. It was just more like I'm present and I'm aware. It's more like I enjoy the company I'm keeping by myself. It's like, man, I don't really need nobody to text my phone. I don't need to be, all over Snapchat and trying to reach everybody and trying to spark up random conversations with people. I just enjoy me. Got to the point where I got irritated. People started messaging me. I'm like, bro, I'm chilling. I don't want to talk to you right now. Got to the point where my phone was dying and I didn't even charge it. Now, you talk about dry, very dry. No activity, but it was all for my good. And so I learned a lot about me. Still learning a lot about me as I'm journeying through this singleness, journeying through a season where I'm in preparation. I'm in a space where I'm being prepared for what's ahead. And I'm journeying in this life and getting visions and goals in mind, targets set, and really attacking those with all I have and giving each day everything I have. And there is such a level of realization and peace that comes along with that because I'm not necessarily being pressured by something in order to get there. There's a sense of duty and purpose in everything I do. Every conversation I have, every connection I have, every live stream I do. There's a sense of duty, purpose, and calling, assignment that's there with it. And I'm not saying that you can't find that in a relationship. What I'm saying is that I think it's important to find that prior to a relationship. Because I think when you do that, you're actually able to make sense. You're able to look for people that make room for the purpose and calling you have for you. I want to raise this question. Maybe this will be another live. What does a relationship do for you if you don't know where you're going? You know what I mean? Like I just want a thought to that. I want to what does a romantic relationship do for you if you don't know where you're going? Right? I mean, it's kind of like trying to hey, I want to go take a trip. Well, where are you taking a trip? I don't know. I'm trying to spend money. What are you trying to spend money on? I don't know. And so what happens? And I'm not even necessarily saying that as a result of thinking that way, then therefore you can't go spend money and you can't go on a trip. The problem is that we actually end up taking up so much time while trying to figure it out on the fly. We lose the most valuable thing to us, which is time. And because we lose the most valuable thing to us, we finally get to this space that, believe it or not, we actually probably could have got there a lot quicker if we were more decisive in where we were trying to go and what we were trying to do, what we were trying to spend our money on, right? So, hey, instead of where you trying to spend your money, shoot, I don't know, let's just go somewhere, buy some stuff and come back. If that is where your life is, by all means. But this is what I'm thinking about. Okay, if I'm actually trying to be an individual who moves in purpose and assignment, if I'm actually trying to make every step and decision with purpose and with preciseness, so I need to know, okay, well, what am I purchasing? Okay, cool. I find out I'm purchasing something, an electronic. I'm purchasing some equipment for content, camera, mic, whatever. Cool. All right. Well, I need to know, what exactly do I want? What am I actually looking to purchase? What type? What brand? What are the specifics to what I'm purchasing? Okay, I get that under control. I'm kind of asking for some help from some tech geeks I got around me. All right, cool. Then I need to go to Best Buy. I need to go to this place. I need to go to this location because this location has exactly what I'm looking for. This place has exactly what I'm looking for. And so now, instead of wasting my time going from store to store trying to figure out who has what, because we've all been there, we've all knew, okay, I know what I'm looking for and I know what I'm trying to buy, but I can't really tell you where exactly to get it. And I didn't really do the research, so I just hopped in the car and went. And then you kind of realize after you get to that last store that you went to, and you're like, wow, it was here this whole time. And you went to 5-7 different stores prior to, wasted about 2 hours of your day, 2-3 hours of your day. You get to that last store, you're like, dang, I wish I would have knew like it was here this whole time. But what's crazy is we could have known if we actually before we started moving, we sat down and we thought things through. We sat down and we did the study and research. We sat down and got an understanding on exactly where to go, what to do, and what purchases to make. My point is not that because you don't know where you're going, you can't get a relationship. No, I think we can do anything. Doesn't mean everything that we do is beneficial, right? You can do anything you want to do, but it doesn't mean it's beneficial, right? So yeah, I can go get a relationship. That's fine. The problem becomes, once I'm in that relationship, now I'm trying to figure out things that I probably should have had an understanding of prior to getting into the relationship. Right? And so now I'm scrambling. And get this, now I'm scrambling because I'm trying to figure things out while also trying to show this person that I'm making room for them and I'm putting them as a priority in my life and I want to do life with them. So not only am I still trying to figure my stuff out, that I really don't know what I'm doing, where I'm going, and how I'm going to move and all those kinds of things, but now I'm also trying to make room for this other person in my life. My biggest challenge to my generation, to people that hear my content, I'm not telling you cannot have a relationship. That is not the goal. I want a relationship. Yeah, boy, I don't know if you knew this. I want to be married. Woo! Shout out to being married. I want to be married. The thing is, though, I want to be prepared for that marriage, right? Like, I don't want to walk into that mug premature. There are too many people that are suffering from divorces, high divorce rates, struggling in those spaces. I don't want that. So why would I just rush into the relationship that way and not know what I'm doing, not know where I'm going, not have values and foundation planted in my life, not understand or have clarity on the assignment, direction, those kinds of things, why would I want a relation? Why would I want to bring somebody along on the on a trail of chaos? Like, think about how selfish that is, right? To want somebody and expect somebody, demand somebody to stick by your side, and you are doing nothing but leaving a trail of chaos. Because chaos is just things that are out of order. So my life is out of order because I don't know where I'm going, and I don't know my values. I don't know these things that are important to actually make the relationship I want last. Again, in no way, shape, or form am I telling you you can't have a relationship. I want you to have a relationship, and I believe you'll get the best relationship that God has for you. 1000%. I believe you can be married. I believe that you can take relationships to the distance. That is not a struggle over here. I know for a fact that you've got that in you. I know for a fact that God made you so uniquely. Man, what? Somebody gonna come around and do life with you. What? Ain't no doubt about that. Not a doubt. The thing that I want you to be able to be willing to face is, okay, prior to getting there, there's some journey and process that I got to be willing to take that allows me to have an awareness that I am prepared for the journey of what I'm pursuing. We're just hopping in relationships and doing the do. So the question that's in the poll, maybe it's up. I know we've been past maybe 5-10 minutes. Is singleness necessary? I want to know from you guys. Do you believe that singleness is necessary? If you ask me, if you can't tell by my comments, heck yeah, it's necessary. And it's one of those things that we bypass very quickly because we think that, man, I just got to have this relationship by this time, and I got to be married by this time, and I got to have children by this time, and I got to have this and have that by this time. And we're moving by timetables that, if I'm being honest, God doesn't even see you that way. God's not like, man, I gotta get you this girl so you can start doing what you do. I gotta get you this hubby so you can start doing what you do. That's a lot of the comparisons that we come up with. That's a lot of how we move. We move that way because we're looking at where other people are. And it's a tendency. It's something that all of us do. We get on social media so much. We scroll so much. We see so many couples TikToks. We're like, how cute. I want that for me. Ain't no problem with you wanting that for you. The problem becomes is when we bypass the important processes necessary to be prepared for the journey of that. And we're expecting other people to join into our lives when we aren't really where we might need to be in order to allow that relationship to last. That's the thing. I want your relationships to last. I want you to win in relationships. Can I tell you that? Just me and you. Nobody else, just me and you. Come a little closer. Yeah, come a little close. I want you to win in relationships. I want you to be able to live your life and say, hey, I did relationships the right way. I did relationships the right way. Healthily, happily. I want you to have whole relationships. I want you to be so happy. Not even happy. I want you to be whole. I want you to be healed. I want you to enjoy the relationships that you carry. I do. I want you to have that. There's just some processes we got to go through. And part of my content, what I do over here, is to let you in on what that process looks like. To deal with some of the insecurities and struggles and heartbreak and wounds that you might have bypassed. And you might have used relationships to bypass. No judgment here. We've all done it and compromised in so many ways. Single people are whole numbers. I don't want you coming into these places depending on somebody else to complete you, because I don't know if maybe this is something you've heard. It's possible. But I want you to know, coming from your boy, they can't complete you. They just can't do it. And to expect them to is a naive thinking pattern of our own. To expect somebody to complete us, it's very naive. Because here's the thing. Let's turn the mirror on ourselves. We can't complete nobody. We don't got the sauce like that. So what do we do? Right? Cool. If singleness is necessary, If singleness is a process that we must be willing to embark on and find enjoyment in prior to us enjoying the company of other people and creating long lasting relationships, how do we do it? How do we win at relationships? Because from the looks of it, maybe you're hearing I'm telling you you're losing and I'm telling you this, that. No. How do we win? You ready? You ready? I want you to take some notes. There's 3 relationships that we want to cultivate, that we want to progress in, that we want to lay as a foundation for the relationship that we're ultimately really looking for, that is in alignment with where we're going, and that is going to make sense for the life we want to live. You ready? You want to cultivate the relationship with your creator. What's your values? What's your belief system? Believing in something that's greater than you, finding identity and value in what's greater than you. Because here's the thing. If I don't find that in something greater than me, I'm going to try to find that in you. And so get this, if things don't work out and you leave me, I go with you. And it don't even mean that I go with you as in I pack my bags and go with you. It means that I don't even know who I am because I lose myself in the relationship. I lose myself in the person that I'm dating. I lose myself in the person that I'm trying to envision life with. And I don't win. I lose. Because I lose myself in someone else. So what is greater than me that holds me down? Where do I get my values and identity from? Where do I get that? Right? Because if I don't have that, I just want you to hear me. If I don't have that and it's not rooted in truth, I'm going to lose in relationships. I'm going to cling on to people who don't want to be in my life. I'm going to make room for people who don't want to be in my life. I'm going to make poor decisions and be attracted to wounds instead of attracted to healing places, healed people, healed mindsets. I'm going to find a way to self-sabotage because I'm going to find a way to abandon what I believe to be true, to hold value, to be a solid rock of foundation in my life for the sake of trying to make somebody work in my life that don't even want to be here. If I don't have a value system, I will fall and go with anything. And my life is slowly deteriorating and I'm losing my soul. Okay? So I need a foundation. This starts with building a relationship with my creator. What are my values? What is my belief system? What do I believe in? Something greater than me. Preferably God. If you ask me, Jesus Christ. But we'll move forward. Number 2. I want a relationship with my calling. Now, what is my calling? Your assignment. What are you here on this life to do? What is your mission statement? Have you ever taken the time to write out your mission statement? Why do I get up every morning? Right? And it's not something like, I got up so I can go to work because I got to pay these bills because who else going to do it? No. Why do you wake up every morning? What is your assignment in this life? What has God placed on your heart to do? Can I give you 10 questions to purpose? I want to do that because I think it's fitting here. I want to leave you with something. Here's 10 questions that you want to ask for purpose. What thoughts constantly re-enter your mind? Okay. These are questions that are going to place you into a realm where you're able to connect the dots and see, okay, maybe this is something that maybe is unique about me and can definitely be something that leads me to a place of understanding my assignment in life. What thoughts constantly re-enter your mind? Okay. Not pornographic thoughts, not sexual thoughts, not the thoughts that you be having when you're thinking about getting cheeks and all that kind of stuff. No, we think in the pure directions here. Okay. What do I constantly imagine myself doing? What would I do for no money? Hello. What am I truly passionate about? Now, this is interesting, right? I would tell you what is something that you strongly desire to do. I would actually say it like that. What is something you strongly desire to do? Because sometimes we can allow what we're passionate about to cause us to step out of order and alignment and purpose. And so I don't really necessarily like the word passion anymore. That's a term that we've always used. Hey, you're passionate about this, you're passionate about that. Like, ugh. No, because I think passion has a way of allowing you to walk outside of self-control. And because you're passionate about something, you no longer care to have guardrails in your life, boundaries in your life, balance in your life. You just go at it and you keep going at it and you literally run yourself to the grave. Whether it's doing something you enjoy doing and having no boundaries, or you just have no self-control And so you just you give in to any impulse that you have. You give in to any impulse that you feel. And you just want to do. And that will drive you into the grave too, depending on what you do. Right. And so I would switch that question more so to, what do I strongly desire to do? What is something that is heavily on my mind that I really have a strong interest on doing? What are my deepest desires? What brings me the greatest fulfillment? What do I want to do for humanity? Your purpose is greater than yourself. It's bigger than you. So you're serving other people in the midst of and walking out your purpose. So what do I want to do for humanity? What makes me angry? That's an interesting question as well, because it allows you to see that there are some things that make us angry that's actually in a direction of a righteous anger. And so we might want to pay attention to that, right? Like, man, I don't really like how people that are less fortunate, who don't have as much as someone else, or someone who is defenseless, be mistreated. I don't like that. Not a fan of that. Oh, well, you should pay attention to that. Interesting. Maybe that could lead you to, I don't know, creating nonprofits and building those kinds of things. Any kind of thought like that would be beneficial, right? Now, number 10, this is the biggest one. Catch this before you go. Catch this. What would you do if it were impossible for you to fail? That's the question of the day. Out of all the questions that surround purpose on this list, that is one that is huge. What would you do if it were impossible for you to fail? Because now you're starting to think big, right? Now you're starting to think, ooh, well, I would do that. I would do that. I would do that. And then you kind of get to the question of, okay, well, so that's what you want to do. That's something that you envision yourself doing, right? Pretty big, pretty far, pretty out there, and pretty scary. So then we ask ourselves, we kind of work backwards. Well, okay, so what's keeping you from actually beginning to pursue that? Oh, well, I don't know if I really have that. Okay, so we have a confidence issue. Got some insecurities that we're struggling with. Okay, got some fears maybe that are stepped in between us. Okay, maybe I'm afraid of not having everything I want right now. Maybe I'm afraid of losing possibly what I have right now. Maybe I'm afraid of what other people are going to think. Right? I don't want people to think negatively, think wrong of me. I don't want people to, I don't want to get canceled. Good. Right? So a lot of those things start popping up as well. That if we are able to at least think on it a little bit, try to find some roots behind it, some stories that we might be telling ourselves that may not actually be legit and true, I think we might actually get some progress. And it's not to say that you're going to get to the place where you're not fearful at all, because I think that is very, not only common, but I think that's actually good. It's kind of crazy to say that, but it's actually good because you are thinking pretty big. That's actually what that shows, that you're thinking pretty far. You're thinking of a goal, of a target, North Star that's actually pretty big for you, right? It's supposed to be intimidating. It's supposed to be scary. And you want to get to the place where you can do it scared. You can do it afraid, you can do it with a little bit of the nervousness in you. Man, I don't know how this video gonna work. I don't know how this stream gonna go, but I'm gonna go out here and I'm gonna go anyway, and it might flop. You might be like me and it might flop, but you keep coming and you keep watering and you keep growing and you keep doing, and you start to see that there's power in every rep and there's power in every repetition. And every watering session is just as important as the last. And so watch this. By the time you get to where you envision yourself going, you're not just having something. You're actually prepared to maintain what it is you gain. You are actually in a position where you've done it so much and you've gotten so creative in what you're doing that it actually has prepared you to do even greater things where you're headed. And you learn all of it was worth it. You learn all of it was worth it. And it might take some time before you see it. It might take some time before you see the labor. Trust me when I tell you, as much as I'm telling this to you, I'm telling it to myself. It might take you some time to see the labor. It might take you some time to see the fruit, rather. It might take you some time. Yep. Not everything is fast. And we're in such a world and in such a hurry where everything happens fast. Everybody goes viral fast. Everybody gets all the likes fast. You hear one day and go like, everybody's doing things fast. Nah. We want the slow work. We want the slow work because that's the efficient. Because we're actually growing into who we need to be to maintain what we'll have. And I know this might not make a whole lot of sense now, and it might be something you just blow off now. And this dude talking about some patience and process, get the fluff out of here. I feel you. All right. I was just there not too long ago, but I'm telling you, I am growing being in these spaces. But the reason why I keep coming isn't because I'm getting paid, isn't because the views are high, isn't because I got all the followers. It's because it's my assignment. It's because this is what I believe that I am called to in this season of my life. And so instead of hiding the talent, I'm actually looking to multiply it. Because I think one of the scariest things that I don't know if many people realize is God has given you a talent, and it would just be the saddest thing for you to give back to him what he initially gave to you. It's not multiplied, didn't touch it, didn't do anything with it. And the same seed that he gave that he planted in you is literally the same exact seed you gave back to him, and nothing was multiplied. And to me, that scares me. I'm like, man, no, I want to bless God with what I'm doing. I want to be a blessing to others. There are so many people. I want you to hear this before you dip. I want you to hear this. There are so many people that are waiting for you to step into what you're being called to. There are so many people that are hurting because you are refusing to do what you're called to do. There are so many people that you are going to be in proximity to be a blessing to. I'm not trying to tell you that you're going to have a bigger platform. I'm not trying to sell you that you're going to have all the best things. I'm not trying to tell you all that. What I'm trying to tell you is that there is somebody somewhere, and at that, maybe even more people after that, that you can and will have an impact on if you are obedient to the calling and assignment on your life. And yes, it may not happen the way that you expect it. It may not go the way that you hope for it. But if we really trust and depend on God, you'll be surprised what he can do. You'll be surprised what he can do. And it's just as much of an encouragement for me as it is for you. So continue watering, continue getting that understanding, continue leaning into those right spaces. You have a phenomenal intrinsic value on your life, and you have a phenomenal purpose on your life. And I think tapping into that is actually what makes life worth living. Not because you have all the material things, but because you recognize that you're here for a reason, and that reason is found and connected to the ultimate creator and God himself. He created me, he molded me, and he tells me I'm his. And so now, man, I can step out here and do anything that God is allowing me and putting in front of me to do. Like, the fulfillment of life is not getting to all these mountaintops and having all these material things, having and securing the bag and having the greatest career. Granted, listen, hey, get you know what I'm saying? Get your money, get your career, do your work and job, excel at those things. I'm not telling you to be trash. Excel at those things. Be mastery of those things. But just recognize that that's not the point of life. And I'm at a place, and I'm growing more and more in a place where I'm just rather looking to bank all of my XP points, if you will, on purpose. And I'm willing to just be aligned in who I'm called to be. And I know and trust God is going to lead and figure the rest. You know? So there's something in you that God has placed in you, and I want you to be willing to look into that. And that comes with understanding your calling and assignment. I know my God-given mandate. That's what makes you attractive to people. You knowing your worth and who you are, that's what makes you attractive to people. Forget all the money and the status. Forget all the things that all these people are circulating and echoing on these social platforms. What makes you attractive is knowing who you are, knowing where the fluff you're going. You know, like, that's what makes you attractive. You being not in character, as in you are somebody you're not. No. I am actually a man of character, a man of integrity, right? I am actually a man that honors and values value systems, boundaries, and principles. I am that man. That's what makes you attractive. And yes, it lessens the pool of those who you will have as options. But I would rather have one right person than a multitude of wrong people. I'm at that place, man. I'm at a place where I am gaining more and more understanding of where I'm going. And I'm trusting that whatever it is that God has for me, I'm going to just depend on him for it. I'm dependent on him for the people to be the right people to be in my life, to be connected to the right people. I'm dependent on him for those things because he's the one that's given me the purpose and assignment on my life, man. And I've clinged on to those things for so long that you just get tired. Like, do y'all ever get tired? Like, I just get, you get tired. You get tired of clinging on to people that don't want to be in your life. You get tired of clinging on to people that just don't really want to play a role in where you're going. You get tired of that. And eventually, after enough hurt, disappointment, you just, shoot, God, I'm just going to trust you then. Sometimes it happens. Sometimes it takes that. But I just want you to consider, man, that there's just so much to your life. And if you only understood how valuable time was, that I'm still growing and understanding the value of it, you know. But when you understand and grow in understanding of the value of time, you might look back, you know, if you imagine the 50-year-old version of you, 70-year-old version of you, man, what it would be to be that age again, to be what age you are now. And you'd be like, man, I would have never spent a lick of time doing that. If you were to get to heaven and see all that God wanted you to do with the time you had on earth, man, you'd be like, Lord, knowing this, if you give me one chance, I'll go back and get it all together. I'll get it all together. And I think that there's a lot of power thinking that way. There's a lot of power of actually recognizing that and then being able to say, okay, all right, so I got some assignment. I got some purpose in my life. We just got to be willing to move towards it. And that's what I'm challenging all my people on my content to do. I want you to get to a place where you're willing to challenge that. And specifically towards relationships, you know, you want to get some understanding on that, because the only way that you're really going to learn if somebody makes sense for you, it can't just be because they're eligible, single, they financially stable. It can't be because they're cute. It can't just be because they can hold really good conversation and their personality is dope. It can't just be because they live in great proximity to you and they go to the same church as you. It can't just be a lot of the surface things that we limit relationships to, because get this, that is how relationships are more transactional than they are transformative. Boy, y'all gonna miss that. It's why relationships are more transactional than transformative, because we are limiting relationships to the surface things. We're not actually looking for the relationships that we actually need to invest in to get to where we're called to. We would just rather focus on the surface. Oh, she cute. Oh, she thick. Oh, she this. Oh, she that. And we miss it. We miss it. But for why? You know what I'm saying? For why? Why limit it that? And I get you. You're buying into a lot of what social media sells you. You're buying into a lot of what's trending. You're buying into the new standard of cute and sexy and hot and fantastic. Like, you're buying into that. But I want you to just step back and consider. I just want you to step back and consider, man, do I even know who I am and what I got room for, and even to make room for this? Do I? Because, like, I want you to think ahead. One of the things that always got me, especially as I continue to grow and I continue to potentially place people in consideration that I encountered, I was like, man, I might see what's up here. I had to actually think for a second, will this make sense a few years from now? Not even if it just makes sense. Like, what if this relationship goes further than the current moment? Do I know what I'm going to do? Do I know how I'm going to operate? Can I handle this if it surpasses where we're at right now? In school, in class, whatever. Will this make sense later down the line? And I think thinking that way, it allowed me to say, no, I probably won't. So I probably shouldn't invest my time here. Because if it doesn't make sense later down the line, the only reason it makes sense now is because of the passion that I'm feeling to just want to be in a similar space as somebody else. Want to be cuddled up, want to be loved on, and there ain't nothing wrong with that. But there's got to be bigger purpose for that. And unfortunately, transactional relationships, that is what we've landed on. We're creating transactional relationships, and it hurts. It hurts. And so I want you to get to a place where you're considering where you are in order to see if that person makes sense for you. How do we know they make sense for you if we don't know where we're going? Why do such a terrible decision? Why make such a terrible decision of trying to include somebody into my life and I don't know where we're going? Ain't nothing worse than that. Nothing worse than that. I don't know where I'm going. You know where you going? Shoot, let's just not know where we're going together and figure it out. Are you kidding me? What? So much, man. No, heck no. And I get this. I haven't thought like this all the way through for so long, but I'm just noticing that there's so many relationships that are falling short. And so many relationships and so many people are talking so bad on relationships as if it's not something to continue to have and enjoy and build. And we've got so many standards social media wise. We've got so much struggle. And I want you to win. I want you to win in relationships. But the way that we win is by doing the small things that compound into the big things that we'll see later down the line. Don't forsake the be. Don't forsake who you need to be in order to maintain the relationships that you can have. We are just straight up missing it. And it's unfortunate, but we're missing it. Because we just see what they are right now. We think they're eligible because they're single, because they're cute, because they're a little bit financially stable, because they got their own. And so we thinking of all the superficial stuff. But we never tapped into the character and integrity. We never tapped into the emotional availability. We never tapped into who they are. We just saw what they had. We never thought of the paradigms that they used to get it. And was it even something that's able to be built on? We just said, hey, that looks good, and I think I want that. But we didn't do the homework to know if we had the capacity to maintain it once we get to where we're going. Hello. What's happening, Jar King? I'm just telling you, we gotta consider that. Why rush there? Why rush there? I know everybody's got a relationship. I know everybody boot up for the holidays. I know Thanksgiving around the corner and everybody bringing their significant others to the table. I get you. You not by yourself. Boo, you not by yourself. But we got to consider, what is the process that I'm taking that's giving me permission to make such a decision so rashly right now? There's so much going on, man. So much going on. I'm not telling you got to be perfect, but I am telling you that there's got to be some cultivation and some processes and some thinking that we got to do. If we want to create transformative relationships, then we have to be willing to do transformative work. And a part of that transformative work is sitting with ourselves and getting an understanding on where we're going, who we are, and what we're trying to do. And the two of the three pieces I've given you thus far is relationship with Creator and relationship with your calling. I need those two in order to even know who it is I want to invite to my life. Because if I don't have those two things, then I'm just going to try to invite anybody, and everybody is able to hold this one golden ticket I got, and I'm going to mess around and give it to the wrong person. And they're going to sell me a beautiful picture for about a couple years, and then it's all going to go to dust. Nah. We want to take relationships as seriously as we take anything else. Just as much as you study up for your driver's license test, just like you know every stat on every football team, just like you know your fantasy football, just like you know every drama and every storyline out here on social media, just like you know all of that. I want you to take that same energy and pour it into yourself. Pour it into yourself. I want to know, what should I expect in relationships that I create with others? I want us to just think about that. I want us to be willing to come into relationships complete, whole, okay? Not depending on that other person to complete us. I want us to come in healed. I want us to come in willing to build transformative relationships. And a part of that is having our belief system and foundation. A part of that is knowing our assignment and calling. We already got something we're putting our hands to. Right? We already got direction in where we're going. That's how we're even able to look at somebody and say, you make sense for my life because you align in the direction that I'm going. And it don't make sense for both of us to not know where we're going. Because what we doing, just wasting time. Let me get off that. Here's the third one. That's the third one. And I want you to remember this one too. You have creator, calling, and now capacity. We've been talking about it all night. Capacity. What do I have room for? Right? Can I actually give my attention the way it needs to be given to this relationship and to this person? Am I willing to make the decision to commit to this person every day? Because get this, people don't stop becoming attractive once you find your significant other. And if you have not built the capacity, and in other words, what else can we label it? There's so many other things, but one thing that's included in capacity is self-control. So if we don't have that in our repertoire, I'm going to fumble the bag. That's what you're telling me. That's what the future is holding for me. I'm going to fumble the bag. I worked this hard to get her. Now I'm going to lose her because I can't control myself. Man, please. No. So what's the singleness for? Why is the singleness necessary? Upon of everything we've talked about, I get to apply some self-control to my life. Because once I get into that relationship, I don't want to fumble the bag because I was not moving in self-control. Nah, I don't want to do that. What I want to do is use this opportunity and season to move in those disciplines. Let me start getting up on time and going to bed on time. Let me start getting my water in. Let me start getting my exercise in and making sure that I'm doing the things that I need to do on a daily basis, on a weekly basis. Let me build some consistency on being on time and showing up to places and letting my yes mean yes and my no mean no. We can apply these things in so many different ways. Let's apply that in our singleness. It doesn't mean that once we get in the relationship that goes to waste, but we are now, watch this, because we put in so much time and repetition in our singleness for the things that we were preparing for in the relationship, we aren't spending our relationship trying to figure things out and get things together. We can actually, watch this, enjoy the relationship to what it can be. We can actually take it somewhere. We can actually do that, right? And if you're in a relationship and none of these things are happening, I'm not necessarily telling you that you need to break up. I don't think I would go that far. What I will tell you is there are some things to consider, though, in terms of having a conversation with this person, right? Hey, so like we may have, I don't remember or recall us having a conversation about maybe some vision and direction and maybe where we were trying to go. You know, do you by any chance have any room and space to talk about that? You know, is it impossible that we have those kinds of conversations? Yeah. So like, where do you see yourself, you know, in a few years? What's a big picture that you have for your life? Where are you going? You know, do you have any idea? Listen to their answer. Listen to what they say no and yes to. Hey, I know, like we haven't really talked about, you know, a lot of the deeper things that maybe both of us have dealt with in maybe our past. Do you think it's impossible to talk about that? Think it's impossible to talk a little bit about maybe some traumas, maybe some struggles, past histories, right? How did we end up here? Is it impossible to talk about that? I think you could benefit from having those kinds of conversations. Here's why. Because now we're actually creating room to understand if this is even a place to stay. And sometimes we are more quick to stay to somebody because we're so comfortable. And we don't actually take the information as it was presented to us to allow ourselves to make a decision and say, I don't think this is it and I need to move forward. I gotta let you know, if we don't maximize our singleness, we are going to fumble the bag that we thought we were working so hard to get, and we are not able to really find ourselves continuing and maintaining the relationship that we ultimately wanted to have. What you just watched was a stream replay from my recent TikTok live this past Tuesday. We go live every Tuesday around the evening time. You definitely want to be sure to follow over there on my TikTok so you can stay close for the timestamps so you don't miss more live streams like this. And if you want to catch more content like this, be sure to subscribe, turn on the post notification bell so you know the next time that we're posting, as we're dedicated to building happy, healthy, whole, and biblical relationships. Be easy.